Okay, I've received a comment on one of my videos, obviously no surprise there. This is from someone whose YouTube channel name is Christian Preacher, which is spelled preach with the letter R immediately after it, all lowercase or one word. And he says, this is on my How to See Real Demons ? Video. I have questions. How do you differentiate between divination and prophecy? Before assuming anything about me based upon my name, answer that for me. Also, I'd like you to describe the angel. That simple question opens up a can of worms, a serious can of worms. How do you differentiate between divination and prophecy? Well, am I differentiating between divination and prophecy, or am I saying that there's a certain type of exercise that one can do under some circumstances, which appears to provide some forms of answers, some of which might be coming from your own subconscious mind, or some might be coming from some external source. Or maybe you yourself might be an individual who has the capacity to be sensitive to things outside of yourself, or indeed possibly from different periods in time. And if you do enough experimentation in terms of dream and astral projection, in keeping something like a dream diary, you may be able to ascertain some of that for yourself. As well as looking at some of the parapsychological texts and videos which are out there, you may start to realize that humans are a little more than just flesh and blood. That is the way that I see it. However, precisely what we can actually achieve, precisely what we can deliberately achieve, and precisely what claims to knowledge and truth we can actually provide, that's where things get a little more amorphous and woolly, basically. There's an awful lot that we still don't know. So can we actually provide a fixed definition or differentiation between divination and prophecy, or do these two things seem to actually overlap in some way? Because they do. So am I going to differentiate between divination and prophecy? Basically, I don't think it's worthwhile doing that. I would say that it's worthwhile experimenting, it's worthwhile exploring. I mean, I use all states of consciousness techniques which come from prayer, meditation, and similar things, trying to carefully choose the words that I use in mantra and as subjects of contemplation, in order to semantically change my state of mind somehow, or make me aware of something else which is outside of myself. And I also do other things such as candle burnings and use of incense and essential oils to assist with the effect as well as forms of visualization exercises, and I add that to the mix too. So it's complex. What more can I say? I'm not going to differentiate between divination and prophecy. These things overlap. Alright, now as far as assuming anything about you based upon your channel name, I wouldn't normally do that. But sometimes there can be some big clues which comes from someone's channel name, such as if it was I Hate Fags. You can probably get the feeling that that's not just someone who is heavily against smokers, you know what I mean? Okay. But I did have a brief look at your channel, and I can tell that you do come from a particular theological stance. However, which particular variety or genre of that theological stance is, of course, a little more woolly, so I'm not going to make any presuppositions under those circumstances, okay? Or indeed, purely based upon that. But you also say, I'd like you to describe the angel, namely the thing which I saw in one particular experience. Okay, well, what I can do is I can try and describe the experience, but is describing the experience describing what's happened? No. Is describing the experience providing proof of a particular theological truth or some fact of the spiritual world? Well, not really. All I can do is I can say what the experience was. Can I therefore say that the thing that I experienced was in fact an angel? I suppose in reality I could not, but I can try and describe the thing for you, and I can try and describe the state of mind that I was in at the time, because that's essentially trying to be as scientific as I can be about something which is a strange, personal, and almost hallucinatory type experience. Namely, I was sort of like halfway between waking and sleeping. I just come out of sleep and I turned round, and I'd felt some electric warmth and pressure on my shoulder and on my thigh, and I saw, made out of little black and red sparkles that seemed to be floating around in a sort of bubbly hive, really, you know, just this mass of little floating, glowing things. A full, physically correct skeleton. Even down to the broken nose bone, and just stood there, with one hand on my shoulder and one hand on my thigh. That's what I saw. And what I felt was a great presence, a presence of wisdom and compassion, in a sense of really caring, but also knowing that he couldn't get involved. And it was a strange experience, but that's all I can say. Can I say that this is hard proof? No. But I can tell you what the experience was, and the experience was weird. And I've had lots of experiences like that. And if you were to take a bit of time and to study the rest of my videos, and I know I've got tons of them out there, so to make life nice and easy, you can just go to my channel page and use the search facility above the column of videos, and then that will give you the ability to answer an awful lot more of your questions about me and about some of the things that I've experienced in my life, alright, in my occult life, in my New Age life. Suggested search terms would be angel, archangel, prayer, meditation, mantra, clairvoyance, healing. Just have a look and see what you can see.